Fox News Alert: Republican House members are returning to Washington today, a day earlier than they had planned, to hash out a final tax bill with the Senate. The GOP is sounding confident they will get a final bill to the president's desk by Christmas. But right now, they're facing a Friday deadline on something else: passing a separate spending measure to avoid a government shutdown. Democrats are threatening to vote against that spending bill if it is not tied to immigration legislation. Let's bring in Congressman Luke Messer, a Republican from Indiana. He's a member of the House Financial Services Committee and the chairman of the Republican Policy Committee. So good to have you on the program today. First of all, I just want to tap in with you and tell us where the conversation is this week ahead of Friday.
You know, I was thinking about it coming into town. The last time there was major tax reform, I was playing a middle linebacker for the Greensburg Pirates, my high school football team. And so it's a big day and a big opportunity and a lot of momentum this week.
All right, this just in. I get to get your thoughts on this, Congressman Messer. We are learning that Chuck Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi of the House have just agreed potentially to come back and meet with the president. Remember how they walked away last week? Quote, "We're glad the White House has reached out and asked for a second meeting. We hope the president will go into this meeting with an open mind rather than deciding that an agreement cannot be reached beforehand." Again, this is on avoiding a government shutdown. Deadline Friday. You get to comment first on Pelosi and Chuck Schumer possibly coming back to the table.
Well, of course they should meet with the President of the United States. I could never imagine turning down a meeting with the President of the United States over something as important as keeping our government open. They, of course, last week showed how political this whole process has been. It's a manufactured crisis. The question about what we're going to do with the DACA, it doesn't have to be solved until March, and it's a manufactured crisis to try to tie it to spending here at the end of the year.
All right, let's talk again about tax reform, though, because that's where we are. We've got members in the House who've come back early. Are you back with the idea that once you're in conference committee, there are only a couple of things to work out? And what would those big things be at this point?
Well, look, the details of this tax plan will matter, but the details there's a lot more similar in these plans than there are differences. I think the most important priority is delivering tax cuts for working people in America, making sure that middle-class families get a tax break. That's what this plan's all about. One way or another, we're going to get this done. You know, I've been incredibly excited to see President Trump's leadership on this issue. I think here in the next couple of weeks, we get a chance to deliver on one of President Trump's biggest campaign promises.
Before I let you go real quickly, I want to talk about the $1 trillion or more debt point that this puts forth and what the messaging is inside the House and the Senate for Republicans, because that's an issue where Americans look and they think, okay, conservatives, Republicans, they have our back on not making more debt. Your thought?
The best way to balance our budget and pay down the debt is to have a growing economy. The only time in modern history where we've actually paid down the debt and, reduced deficits is in the 1990s when we had 4% growth. We're on the verge of that now. The stock market's up. We've got low unemployment. If we could get real wage growth, which I think comes from this tax plan, we'll have an opportunity to actually pay down the debt. That's what history has shown, and we can do it again.
20, 22%, 23% in terms of that corporate tax cut is being kind of bandied around now rather than a hard and fast 20%. Does it matter, and what is the takeaway?
Yeah, I think we want to get that rate as low as we can, but I also think we need to get this tax relief out right away. So what I'm hoping is that we can get as much tax relief into this year as possible, and if having that number a little higher allows us to do that, that would be a smart policy. Look, in the end, what matters is we cut taxes for working Americans, we modernize this tax code, and we keep this economy moving. This is a great opportunity, and we just need to get it done.
All right, from the great state of Indiana, Congressman Luke Messer.
It's a great state.
I know, I drove through it. I loved every second. Went from Minnesota to New York. I wanted to stay. Thank you.
That's fabulous. Thanks.
Good to see you.